Why women want dangerous men. According to Machiavelli, you feel it before you even see it. A pulse in the air, the quiet before a storm no one else dares to chase. There is a gravity in danger, an ancient rhythm beating beneath your skin, calling to something raw and untamed inside you. This is not the safety of warmth or the comfort of softness. This is the edge, sharp, unpredictable, and intoxicating. You have always known the difference between the familiar and the forbidden, between what soothes and what awakens the depths of your hunger. Dangerous men do not offer you a place to rest. They offer a descent into a world where chaos and control dance in perfect balance. They do not promise peace. They promise a tempest that will leave you changed, shattered, and remade. Why does this frighten you? Because danger is the mirror of your own unspoken fears, the wild, dark corners you hide even from yourself. Yet, it is exactly this fear that pulls you closer, like a moth circling a flame too fierce to touch but impossible to ignore. You want more than comfort, you crave a challenge to your very soul. In this tension between safety and danger, desire is born. Not the tame affection that whispers lullabies, but the roar that demands attention and respect. It is a hunger not for love's illusion, but for power's raw essence, a craving for a force that refuses to be contained or understood. The dangerous man is an enigma wrapped in shadow. His power is not in what he shows, but in what he hides. The silence that screams louder than any word, the stillness that unsettles even the most secure hearts. You are drawn not to the light he casts, but to the darkness he owns. This is the primal dance of attraction, the pulse of unpredictability against the steady beat of self-possession. He is the wildfire that consumes the predictable, burning away the masks you wear to survive. And in the ashes, you glimpse a truth that the only way to feel truly alive is to stand close to the edge. You ask yourself, what is it about danger that seduces so deeply? It is the surrender to a force greater than reason, a recognition that control is an illusion, and that to be alive is to embrace the unknown. You are not seeking a savior, but a reckoning, not a comfort, but a challenge. And so you lean into the silence between his words, the shadows behind his gaze. You feel the weight of his absence, as if it were a presence, pulling you into a space where desire and fear collide. This is not the safe path. It is the path that fractures you, demands everything, and leaves you breathless. Danger is not just attractive. It is essential. Because within the chaos he commands, you find a reflection of your own untamed spirit, wild, unyielding, and utterly alive. To chase safety is to live half a life. To chase danger is to confront the abyss and find yourself staring back with hungry eyes. You stand at the crossroads of your own desire, and the choice is clear. Will you settle for the warmth that soothes, or will you step into the fire that forges? The dangerous man is not a destination, he is a call, a summons to shed your illusions and walk the razor's edge of your own truth. In this abyss, there is no turning back, only the pulse of raw, unfiltered power, the eternal dance of chaos and control. This is the siren call you cannot resist, because it is the call of your own becoming. You must understand this first. Chaos is not the absence of order. It is a tool, a weapon forged in the furnace of control. Dangerous men do not stumble blindly into disorder. They orchestrate it with precision. They are the composers of storms, the architects of unpredictability, and this is where true power takes root. Imagine your mind as a chessboard, every piece moving with calculated intent, but the moves are cloaked in mystery. The controlled chaos you wield unsettles those who seek to cage you. It ignites their obsession because unpredictability is the antithesis of complacency. When everything is predictable, your presence fades into the background like a forgotten shadow. But when the storm is near, attention sharpens, instincts flare, and desire deepens. You ask yourself, why does chaos attract, even when it threatens? Because safety dulls the senses. When you are too predictable, too familiar, you become easy to understand and easily dismissed. But chaos forces the soul to stay alert, to question, to crave. It is the whisper in the silence that refuses to be ignored. Controlled chaos is the promise that you cannot be fully known, fully tamed. It is the edge that keeps others guessing, always wanting more. This is not recklessness. Recklessness is the fall of the weak, the loss of all power to wild impulses. Controlled chaos is mastery, the ability to destabilize without losing your own footing. It is the dance between letting the world see the tempest, yet holding the eye of the storm within. You are both the fire and the calm that surrounds it. Ask yourself, how often do you choose comfort over challenge? How often have you numbed your power to avoid conflict? The dangerous man never sacrifices the edge. He knows that respect and fear are born in that delicate tension, the threat of collapse balanced with the promise of order. He becomes a force others cannot predict but cannot resist. This law demands that you cultivate mystery in every movement, every word left unsaid, every silence pregnant with possibility. When you appear too safe, you invite disregard. When you wield chaos with control, you become a necessity, a force that others seek not just to understand, but to survive. Feel the weight of this truth settle inside you. Emotional safety breeds complacency. It is the quiet death of desire and influence. But when you walk the razor's edge, when your presence hints at an unpredictable storm, you ignite a primal alertness. You make others hunger for the next move, the next glance, the next moment with you. Controlled chaos is a strategic surrender to uncertainty, but only on your terms. It is the power to disrupt and the power to command, intertwined like two serpents locked in eternal embrace. This is where your sovereignty lies, in the mastery of what cannot be contained or predicted. Do you feel the pull? The call to disrupt the monotony of expectation? To become a force that unsettles and captivates? This is your crucible, the choice to harness the storm inside, to become the embodiment of both threat and control. Remember, chaos without control is destruction. Control without chaos is stagnation. The dangerous man is the one who balances both, the architect of a storm that never loses shape, the keeper of a wildness that never becomes unruly. This is your law to live by. Never be fully seen, never be fully understood. Let your presence be a controlled storm, a force that commands respect, incites fear, and demands obsession. You will find in this balance the ultimate power, to be irresistible, untouchable, and endlessly alive. You stand before a mirror, but the reflection you meet is fractured, split between the light you show the world and the darkness you keep. Locked away, that darkness, your shadow, is not a monster to fear, but a kingdom to claim. You have been taught to hide it, to shame it, to cage it like a dangerous beast, yet this very shadow holds the rawest form of your power. To deny it is to deny yourself. Dangerous men do not flee from their darker impulses, they embrace them. Like old allies, fierce, untamed, necessary. This shadow is the primal force beneath your polished mask, the fire smoldering beneath ice. It whispers truths no light can reveal, about fear, desire, anger, and the hunger for control. When you own this darkness, you become whole. Vulnerability is no longer weakness, but a strategic opening, a deliberate expose that commands respect rather than pity. Ask yourself, What parts of yourself have you hidden in shame? What instincts have you suppressed because they felt too dangerous, too volatile? Now consider the alternative, a sovereign self that wields these impulses like a blade, cutting through pretense and hesitation. This is Machiavelli's secret. True power is not found in denying your nature, but mastering it. It is the alchemy of turning shadow into light, aggression into influence, and vulnerability into magnetic strength. This sovereignty is a silent storm inside you. It refuses to be tamed or silenced. It demands you recognize the totality of your being, not just the pieces deemed acceptable. The dangerous man owns his rage, not as chaos, but as authority. He claims his fear not as weakness, but as clarity. He moves through the world with the awareness that every shadow cast is part of his silhouette, one that inspires awe and surrender alike. Feel the tension between your light and shadow, between what you reveal and what you conceal. It is here, in this liminal space, that your power is born. To deny your darkness is to live fragmented, a puppet of your own fears. To own it is to become a force that cannot be fractured, a presence that demands both reverence and wariness. The question is not whether you have a shadow. It is whether you will make it your throne. Will you allow the darker currents beneath your surface to pull you under? Or will you rise, sovereign and unyielding, mastering them with fierce self-possession? This is the crucible of the dangerous man. In the depths of your shadow lies authenticity untouched by illusion or pretense. It is a place where raw truth resides, about your desires, your pain, your hunger for control. When you step into this darkness willingly, you no longer fear losing yourself. Instead, you find the infinite power of being wholly, unapologetically you. Sovereignty means that no fragment of your soul is exiled. No impulse is denied. Instead, all become instruments of your will, an arsenal of strength that confounds those who would seek to tame or break you. This fierce self-possession ripples through your presence, unsettling and captivating. It is the silent command that others feel before you even speak. Ask yourself now, how long have you been running from your shadow? How much power have you sacrificed to stay safe, to fit the mold? The dangerous man knows that safety is an illusion and that true mastery begins with embracing every shadow within. The darker parts of yourself are not stains. They are insignias of sovereignty. You are the storm and the calm, the shadow and the light, the hunter and the hunted. To own your darkness is to declare your unbreakable reign over yourself and the world around you. In this ownership, you do not just survive, you dominate. You must learn that silence is not weakness. It is not the empty void where power dies. Silence is a blade, sharp, cold, invisible. When you choose to withdraw, to step back into shadows unannounced, you are not retreating. You are recalibrating the battlefield, bending reality to your will. The absence you create is not a vacuum, but a magnetic force pulling others into a deeper hunger for you. Have you noticed how the noise of constant presence dulls the senses? When everything is loud, nothing commands attention. But when you vanish, when you hold your words and your presence like a secret, you become the mystery others cannot unravel. They are left grasping at whispers, imagining shapes in the darkness you leave behind. This silence haunts. It lingers like a shadow at the edge of perception, making you indispensable without a single demand. Consider the psychological power in what you do not say. Every unspoken word is a riddle, every withheld glance a puzzle. This is the theater of control, the deliberate withdrawal that inflames curiosity and obsession. Your silence forces others to fill the void, projecting fantasies that no reality could ever contain. This is the essence of Machiavellian strategy, Power in absence, dominance in the spaces between. Why do you feel compelled to explain yourself? To justify your actions, to break the quiet, because you mistake presence for power. But power is often found in restraint, in the cold calculation to withhold, to retreat, just when others think you will advance. You teach them that you are not a prize to be won by noise or by pleading. You are a force to be reckoned with, unpredictable, untouchable, and ultimately irresistible. This is tactical withdrawal, a dance of shadows and silence. You pull away to pull them in. Each disappearance is a calculated move on the chessboard of desire and influence. You deny comfort, creating a tension that sharpens attention. They come looking for you, not because you called, but because the silence you left behind commands their return. In this silence, you do not lose control, you claim it. You become the unseen hand steering the emotions of others, the quiet storm that unsettles and captivates. It is a power that is earned, not begged for. To wield silence is to wield scarcity, and scarcity breeds value. You are no longer one voice in the crowd. You are the quiet command that echoes in every mind. Ask yourself, when was the last time you disappeared and felt the world pull at the edges of your absence? When did you last let silence work its dark magic, letting desire build unseen, relentless? This is your domain. To speak less, to move less, to reveal less. To let your absence be the loudest presence in the room. Master the silence that haunts. Let your withdrawal be your roar. Let the spaces you leave behind be filled with longing, with questions, with a need that only you can satisfy. This is the power of strategic absence, the weapon of those who understand that sometimes the greatest control lies not in what you say, but in what you choose never to say at all. You stand at the edge, where vulnerability becomes weapon and restraint becomes power. This is no ordinary openness. It is a deliberate unveiling, a calculated fracture in your armor that commands attention without surrendering dominion. You understand that weakness is not the absence of strength, but the mastery of when and how to reveal it. The world expects you to be unbreakable, yet the truly dangerous know the secret. Power whispers through the cracks you allow to show. Why do you feel the urge to hide every imperfection, every flicker of doubt? Because vulnerability feels like surrender. But what if it is the opposite? What if true mastery lies not in total concealment, but in the razor's edge of selective revelation? You do not pour out your soul like a flood. Instead, you leak a controlled stream, just enough to draw others near, to disarm suspicion, to create a tether without losing the leash. This is a dance, a subtle interplay between light and shadow, presence and absence, confession and silence. You reveal, not to be consumed, but to be respected. Your vulnerability is a mirror reflecting strength, not a window into fragility. It unsettles others because it defies expectation. It is a power move disguised as humility, a fortress with a deliberately cracked wall. Imagine your restraint as a code, written in the language of emotional control. Each withheld word, each guarded feeling, is a symbol of sovereignty. You invite others into your inner world, not as equals, but as observers, trying to decipher the mystery you present. And in this space, you are always the one holding the key. You command the narrative by what you do not say, by the glimmers of truth you allow to escape. Have you noticed how those who reveal everything lose their influence? Transparency becomes transparency becomes transparency, diluted, exhausted, predictable. But you, dangerous and deliberate, you craft your vulnerability like a weapon forged in shadow. It is precise, it is rare, it is magnetic. Others reach For it, desperate for connection, yet always aware that it is tethered to your control. This paradoxical mastery unsettles and attracts in equal measure. Vulnerability is no longer a chink in your armor, but a beacon, a signal that you are not just flesh and blood, but a force capable of bending emotions to your will. It deepens connection, yes, but on your terms. It creates a tension that pulls others closer, makes them lean in, and yet keeps them at arm's length. You are the storm contained within a calm eye. Ask yourself, when was the last time you allowed yourself to be seen, but only just enough? When did you last wield your openness as a tool rather than a liability? To command through restraint is to walk the line between exposure and concealment with deliberate grace. It is a silent language that others learn to fear and respect. Your vulnerability is not a surrender, it is a strategy. It whispers power into the spaces where others only shout weakness. You are the master of this delicate balance, dangerous because you are unpredictable, commanding because you never fully reveal your hand. In this space, you are untouchable. In this silence, you reign supreme. You stand in the shadowed intersection of fear and desire, an ancient crossroads where power is forged and authority takes form. This is no gentle magnetism, no soft invitation. It is a ruthless alchemy, a cocktail mixed with equal parts reverence and anxiety, a force that commands from within and dominates from afar. You must understand, to be truly captivating, you cannot rely on warmth alone. Desire is hollow without the edge of fear lurking beneath. Ask yourself, what stirs the deepest hunger in those who orbit your presence? Is it comfort or the subtle tension of the unknown? The dangerous man knows that attraction is never pure. It is always a dance of light and shadow, the push and pull between craving and caution. You are the eye of a storm, calm, magnetic, but lethal. You cultivate a presence where admiration cannot exist without apprehension, where longing and restraint entwine like twin serpents. Why does fear hold such power over desire? Because fear sharpens the senses. It awakens a primal awareness that comfort dulls. It reminds others that you are not to be taken lightly, not a refuge, but a challenge. And in this challenge, you become indispensable. Your authority rises not from the softness of your words, but from the weight of what you make others feel, a trembling respect, a whisper of danger, a promise that to get close is to risk everything. Imagine your aura as a blade, sharp, shining and unyielding. It cuts through the noise, slicing doubts and false hopes. It demands submission, but offers in return a glimpse of something forbidden, intoxicating. You are not simply desired, you are revered, feared, necessary. This is the dominion of power few dare to enter, because it requires embracing the duality of your nature, the savage and the sovereign, the lover and the tyrant. How often have you softened yourself to be liked, only to feel your influence fade? Softness without steel is invisible. The world craves not just connection, but control. An intoxicating command that stirs the soul and unsettles the mind. You are the master of this paradox. You wield desire as bait and fear as the hook. Together, they weave an unbreakable web of magnetic authority. Feel the weight of this truth settle in your bones. Respect born from fear is not cruelty. It is strategy. It is the cold calculation of a mind that understands human nature in its rawest form. You do not need to shout to be heard. Your silence can terrify, your glance can dominate, your presence can unmake certainty and rebuild it in your image. What makes your power last is this: you never reveal your limits. You never soften the edge to comfort others. Instead, you keep them guessing, always balancing between allure and menace, promise and threat. This balance is a weapon sharper than any blade, more potent than any charm. It secures loyalty not through kindness, but through awe. Consider this your inner code. To command magnetic authority, you must become a living contradiction, desirable yet dangerous, admired yet feared. You are a fortress and a wildfire, a secret whispered in the dark. This is the dominion of those who understand power's true face, who own the shadows as fiercely as the light. And so you stand at this precarious junction, ready to wield fear and desire not as enemies, but as twin pillars of your empire. To be magnetic is to be unforgettable. To be unforgettable is to command. And to command is to own your dominion, quiet, relentless, absolute. You are not merely stepping into a role, you are awakening to a destiny older than time itself. The path of the dangerous man is no costume to wear for a moment's thrill. It is a sacred ritual of inner mastery. You are called to ascend beyond the petty games of manipulation, beyond the hollow chase of seduction. This is a pilgrimage to the throne of your own soul, where power is not taken, it is quietly earned, fiercely held, and deeply known. Ask yourself, what does it mean to be dangerous in the truest sense? It is not violence, nor chaos, nor reckless bravado. It is a stillness that burns beneath the surface, a fire contained within an unbreakable vessel. It is the ability to stare into the abyss of your own darkness and smile, to own your shadows as your allies, not your enemies. You become a force both feared and revered, a storm held in perfect balance with calm. This mastery demands ruthless self-awareness. To walk this path, you must strip away illusions, shedding the masks forged by fear and society's expectations. You confront your weaknesses as mercilessly as your strengths, knowing that sovereignty comes from integration, not denial. The dangerous man is whole, light and dark entwined, instinct and intellect in harmony, desire tempered by discipline. Power like this does not shout, it whispers in silence, it moves unseen, shaping the world through subtlety and presence. You learn that to command is to serve a higher order within yourself, a principle that transcends selfish gain. You become a quiet monarch of your own psyche, unshaken by storms, unmoved by chaos. Your fire does not blaze wildly and burn out. It smolders with a steady, relentless glow, an eternal flame that illuminates your path and warns those who dare approach unprepared. Consider this your covenant. To embody danger as sacred sovereignty means to live on the razor's edge of shadow and light. It is to dance with your demons and invite your angels to the same table. You embrace the paradox of being both creator and destroyer, knowing when to strike and when to withhold, when to reveal and when to conceal. This balance is not weakness, it is the ultimate strength. In this crucible of self-mastery, desire loses its desperation and fear its grip. You command reverence not through demand, but by simply existing as an unyielding presence. Others will feel your power like a gravity they cannot escape, an invisible force that draws and holds, not because you force it, but because you embody it. This is the dangerous man, a living paradox, a silent storm, a sovereign soul. You are invited now to burn steady, to walk this path not for approval, but for truth, to carry your power as a sacred burden and a profound gift, to be the embodiment of all that is both feared and desired, loved and respected, not because you seek it, but because you are it. Let your life become the quiet echo of ancient wisdom, the unmistakable rhythm of inner mastery. So walk forward, not with arrogance, but with the calm certainty of one who knows their own depths. The path is yours, dark, demanding, and dazzling. You are no longer a player in a shallow game. You are the architect of your destiny, the dangerous man risen in full sovereign flame. Description: the path of the dangerous man, embrace your be. Shadow, command your power. You feel the pull, that silent storm within, a restless hunger stirring beneath your calm. This is no mere challenge, it is the existential battle for your soul's sovereignty. Between light and shadow, safety and chaos, you stand at the threshold of transformation. To walk this path is to confront the fractured self, to embrace your shadow as a throne, and to rise into a state of ruthless inner mastery. Here, individuation unfolds, the alchemy of dissolving illusions and reclaiming raw, untamed power. This video dives deep into the dangerous man archetype, exploring shadow work, emotional detachment, and the strategic wielding of silence as a tool of influence. It unpacks how true power arises from disciplined self-possession, philosophical healing, and mastering the tension between chaos and control. Learn how to disarm emotional manipulation, cultivate self-worth through sovereignty, and live as a force both feared and revered. Takeaways: embrace shadow integration as a source of authentic strength. Harness controlled chaos to unsettle and captivate. Master emotional detachment without losing presence. Transform vulnerability into strategic power. Cultivate silence as a magnetic force. Balance light and darkness for true sovereignty. Break free from societal illusions and masks. Command respect through quiet, relentless presence. Step into the fire that forges you. Like, share, and subscribe to Awaken the Dangerous Man. Within, a sovereign flame that burns steady, fierce, and unyielding. Tags dangerous men attraction. Why women want dangerous men. Machiavelli on danger, emotional storytelling danger, psychology of attraction, dark masculine energy, chaos and control psychology, shadow self-power, forbidden desire psychology, controlled chaos in relationships, masculine sovereignty, emotional safety versus danger, primal attraction secrets, mastering your shadow, psychological rebellion, power and vulnerability, dark psychology love, allure of unpredictability, emotional, intensity storytelling, dangerous man mindset, heartbreak and rebirth, karma and desire, self-awareness and power, philosophy of danger, toxic attraction explained, revenge and control, emotional storytelling philosophy, seduction and fear, chaos as power, walking the razor's edge, psychological mastery of desire, images. You feel it before you see it. The pulse of a storm, no. One else dares to chase. Danger drips like ancient rhythm beneath your skin, calling something raw and untamed. This is the edge, sharp, unpredictable, intoxicating in its deadly allure. You've always known the hunger for what awakens, not what soothes. Dangerous men offer no rest, only a descent into chaos balanced by control. Fear is the mirror reflecting the wild, dark corners you hide from yourself. Like a moth circling a flame, you crave the scorch of a soul's challenge. Desire is born not from lullabies, but from a roar demanding your attention. Power's raw essence is a hunger that refuses to be contained or understood. The dangerous man's silence screams louder than any spoken word. You are drawn to the darkness he owns, not the light he casts. He is wildfire burning away the masks you wear to survive. In the ashes, you glimpse a truth, only near. The edge do you truly live. To be alive is to surrender to a force greater than reason itself. You seek not a savior, but a reckoning that fractures and remakes you. His absence pulls you into a space where desire and fear collide. Danger is the reflection of your own untamed spirit, wild and unyielding. To chase safety is to live half a life. To chase danger is to confront the abyss. The dangerous man is a call to shed illusions and walk the razor's edge. Chaos is not absence of order, but a tool forged in the furnace of control. He is the composer of storms, architecting unpredictability with precision. Your mind is a chessboard where every move is cloaked in mystery. Controlled chaos unsettles those desperate to cage what cannot be tamed. When the storm nears, instincts flare and desire deepens like wildfire. Safety dulls the senses. Chaos sharpens the soul's hunger for more. Recklessness falls. Controlled chaos masters the dance of tempest and calm. The dangerous man balances collapse's threat with order's promise. Mystery is cultivated in every silence pregnant with possibility. Emotional safety is complacency, the quiet death of desire and influence. Walking the razor's edge ignites primal alertness in those around you. Controlled chaos is surrender to uncertainty, but only on your terms. You are both fire and calm, the storm and the eye it conceals. Your presence is a controlled storm, a force that commands obsession. Before the mirror, your fractured reflection holds both light and shadow. The shadow is no monster but a kingdom waiting to be claimed. Dangerous men embrace dark impulses like old, fierce allies. Your shadow whispers truths no light dares reveal. Vulnerability becomes a weapon, a strategic exposé demanding respect. Mastery is the alchemy turning shadow into light, aggression into influence. Sovereignty is a silent storm refusing to be tamed or silenced. Every shadow cast is part of a silhouette that inspires awe and surrender. Power is born where light and dark collide in uneasy harmony. To deny your darkness is to live fractured, a puppet to your fears. Will you make your shadow your throne, rising sovereign and unyielding? Silence is not absence, but a blade sharpening your invisible force. Vanishing into shadows leaves behind a haunting mystery impossible to unravel. The dangerous man's path is a sacred ritual of inner mastery. True danger is a fire contained within an unbreakable vessel. Sovereignty comes from integration, not denial, light and dark entwined.